This is just Bob Bowman, and I'm coming at you with another video. And before we get started, I want to say to those that observe the new year according to how things are in this society and how we look at time, I hope everything works out the way that you want in this so called new year that we're about to go into. And with that being said, the topic that I want to go over is forgiveness. And this is a good topic for this time of the so called year that we observe. And the reason why I'm saying because, like a lot of people say, out with the old and in with the new. And sometimes we have to come with a new mind state, a refreshment of how we think about things and how we look at things and how we understand life. And forgiving others sometimes can be very hard for me, especially when I'm done very wrong and I did nothing wrong and I was treated bogus and I went out of my way to do good and it wasn't appreciated and things of that nature. And sometimes it could be my own ego that won't allow me to forgive others. And then I also had to think about there are times when I've done wrong and ill to people and I want forgiveness, but sometimes, that forgiveness isn't given. And sometimes, even when I'm unintentional with doing harm to others, they don't care. All they care about is how I made them feel in that moment. And so they don't forgive me. Some people want to make me feel twice as bad as how they felt. And I had a time to think about everything. Like I took a month off of drinking, off of socializing, doing things so I could reflect on my life and the things that I needed to deal with, the emotions that I buried inside that I wasn't dealing with. And one thing that I know is that there are certain people and certain situations that I had to forgive. Now, I talk about how 2020 was really rough for me. And it was one of the reasons why I started making my videos. Like from March of 2020 to March of 2021 had to be, if not the most difficult year for me, but one of the most difficult years. And I look back on it and I'm like, wow, like at one point I didn't think I was gonna make it through that 12-month period. And even after that 12-month period, when things started slightly improving, there were a lot of other things that happened, a lot of other situations, some tragedies that I had to deal with that I'm still feeling after effects of. And one of the things that I had to learn is that there are some people that did me bogus, like seriously bogus, but I have to forgive them regardless of how I feel. And it's not for them, it's for me. It's so I can move forward because it's not good to hold these grudges. And that's not saying that I'm going to be friendly with these people. Like if I see them on the streets, depending on who it is, I may still be cordial with them. You know, I might still be pleasant when I'm around them. But does it mean that I'm going to be friendly or try to be friends with them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I've learned that even though I forgive people doesn't mean that I have to allow them to cross certain boundaries with me ever again and allow certain connections ever again if I don't want to. And I had to forgive one particular person that I still really don't like. And he's a person that married into my family. He's caused a lot of chaos in my family. And he and his friends burned my car down back in February of 2021. And I held that against him. I'm still not happy about what happened. Like, I don't think that that was called for with what happened, but it happened. Um, I was out of some money. I had to rebuild myself back up from that point. I was already at rock bottom, and that made my situation even worse. And like, I wanted to like really throw I really wanted to lay hands on the brother, and not in a good way. And he's not a brother. I wanted to lay hands on him. And if he was to try me or try to start a fight with me, I would still want to lay hands on him in the worst way. However, I'm at this point to where I'm like, I'm not going to go out of my way to fight him, even though I did want to fight him. I want to do way worse than that. And I could have done way worse than that to him. However, I had to look at the big thing, the big picture. And it's that I had learned a lesson of how not to get myself involved in certain matters that doesn't involve me, even if it's family members, especially if the family member didn't take my advice from the beginning about certain situations of not to put themselves in, and they still did it. And what hurt me even more than that was that after that happened, that person still had dealings with him. And I was pretty much what I went through. It pretty much was treated as, oh, he'll get over it, and it made me look at people in general, but especially family, in a different light. And then I was just like, wow, like, I've been hurt before, but I've never been hurt on this level before. And even though I never got an apology from anybody for that, I have to forgive them. And that's very hard for me to come to grips with, because I'm like, damn, you know, damn. Like, I went through this traumatic experience, and I still have to be the bigger person in this. But that's the way it goes. And that's not the only person that I have to forgive. I have to forgive the people who saw me as somebody to be used and mistreated and mishandled and talked down to and not respected. And those people know who they are. Some of those people I grew up with. Some of those people I met in later life trying to join groups or organizations. And one thing that I learned is that I cannot, like, respect. Sometimes you can't earn it if they don't have it for you, even if you work real hard for the respect. And they may give you a tiny bit, but not to the point to where you're respected as a equal to them, because they never will see you as equal. They'll respect you and say, hey, he's trying to be this way and that way, but he'll never be that way. So we'll tolerate him to a certain degree, but we'll still make him feel bad for wanting to be around us, because we know in our hearts that he doesn't belong around us. And I had to learn that, and I had to forgive them. I had to also forgive family and friends, the ones that I've put on the pedestal, that I looked up to, and that I've had to find out things about them that wasn't so pleasant. And then I had to come to realize that no matter what, we all are human beings. We all make mistakes. We all have our ways about us that's not too good. Even me, I have ways about me that's not too good. But it's what makes us us. And if we try to improve ourselves and we try to change everything, and there's certain things about us that We just don't have the ability to change. Sometimes we have to learn how to accept those things. And that's part of the serenity prayer, and I went through that of forgiving, but the main person that I had to forgive was myself. Now, what do I mean by I had to forgive myself? I had to forgive myself for being so gullible to believe the people that were conning me, the people that were scamming me, the people that were setting me up for public humiliation. Because at the end of the day, I allowed that to happen to myself. So I got to eat that, and I have to hold myself accountable, even though it's tough for me to hold myself accountable because I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong or I didn't know. But just because I didn't know doesn't make it an excuse. So I have no excuse to why I allowed these people to do things like that. And it's not because I don't know. It's because I wasn't using my brain properly, even though it was certain things that I wasn't taught at an early age and I had to learn at an older age, and now it's starting to sink in. But even then, it's like certain things people shouldn't have to tell you. And when you don't learn these things or you don't understand these things, it can make you seem real stupid because it's like sometimes common sense isn't common. And I didn't use my common sense, and I have to own up to that. I have to forgive myself for trying to be around people that didn't want me around, trying to impress people that would never be impressed by me. You know, some people that doesn't care if I was to, have $1 million, they will still look at me as less than them. Just a person that's less than them just happens to have more money and they have to look for ways to get that money out of me. I have to forgive myself for being an easy lick. You know, one thing that I admitted to myself, and I did this during one of the podcasts of Sheep Stay Sleep DS1 Ross. And it was during the time that I was trying to become a minister. And one of my motives for doing it was because I wanted to make some money. Now, I do respect God and I do love God, but I saw how a lot of pastors and preachers they talk about God and they make a lot of money doing it, and I was like, well, that'd be a good way to make some money, and then I could be a positive influence on people at the same time. And that's the wrong reason to do that. Like, you actually have to have a passion for it where it's not about the money. But I had to learn it the hard way, and I got used and manipulated. I got put into schemes, and I ended up being thousands of dollars in debt due to me chasing money, and it caused me to lose money. Also, I have to forgive myself for getting married to somebody that I knew it wasn't a good compatibility. And that's not me dissing my ex-wife, but I had to hold myself accountable and say that I just settled knowing that we didn't mesh well together. But I wanted to show that I wasn't out here just trying to shack up with somebody. I wanted to be a good man, it was about my image that I care more about than the actual marriage. And I was wrong for that. And sometimes it's hard for me to think about it because a part of me, even though I've been divorced for almost 7 years now, like a part of me still loves my ex wife, but I had to. come to the conclusion that we should have never got married because we never was compatible. It was things about her that she had to work on. I needed to work on myself a whole lot. And I was thinking that we would help each other grow and repair each other, but it doesn't work out like that. And unfortunately, back then I didn't know. I know now. And like I said, not knowing isn't an excuse. And there were people that told me not to get married to her, and I didn't listen to them. And the reason why is because I didn't see any better options for me, you know. And I still don't see any better options for me even after I got divorced. But just because there aren't any really good options doesn't mean that I just have to take just anything or just take what I consider is the best deal, even though I didn't get treated the way that I needed to be treated during that time period. I wasn't told the truth about a lot of things, and I'm not going to get into that. But it is what it is, and I had to learn from that. And I take hold of my personal responsibility for what happened, and it was hard for me to do that. But as I sat down and I had time to reflect and think about everything, I had to say, yes, I messed up. I wasted a lot of time and a lot of years and a lot of effort and a lot of money. And now I look at money different, and I have to apologize to myself for the way that I used to look at money because I didn't see the significance of money the way that I see it now. And that's not putting money above God. It's a tool. However, if you misuse the tools that you have, you're going to lose them or you're going to destroy them. Now, we make money off of the time that we give to other people. Even if it's a business that we own, it's still a time and an effort and an energy that comes along with that. So that money is reflective of the time that you spent in the past to earn what it is that's in your hand. And so when you're out and you're going out on dates or you're doing whatever, socializing or doing whatever, you have to understand not only are you spending your time with these people or that person, but you're also spending your past time, which is that money, which is that tool with those people. And you have to ask yourself, is it valuable enough for you to be doing that? And I didn't ask myself that in many occasions. And I ended up coming off the short end of the stick a lot of times because I didn't understand that. And I fell back so much, and I had to put in a lot of energy and effort to overcome that and recover from that. But now that I've overcame and I've recovered to the point where I'm at now, I'm like, I have to start looking at things totally different, even when I'm going out on dates or hanging out with friends or whatever. Like, it's not the way that I used to look at it previously. Like, I've had to change my mind and the way that I understand things on a totally different level now. So I also had to uh, forgive myself for trying to keep up with what's going on. Try to keep up with the trends. Try to, you know, jump through hoops to be impressive. Be the type of person that everybody want me to be. Because at the end of the day, I understand now that I will never live up to the standards of what other people put on me. Because I have to value myself for who I am as a person. And if I don't value myself as a person, nobody else will. And I had to forgive myself for not valuing who it is that I am as a person. You see, I can't make an excuse that, oh, I didn't grow up with my father, or, oh, people was telling me this and this and this, and I had all this pressure on me. No, at the end of the day, I made choices, and I made some pretty bad choices. and it screwed me up. Now I'm at this point to where I'm repairing what it is that I messed up, and I know that it's not gonna come back fully together and look the way that it's supposed to look, how it was in the beginning. Like I know that if I break a cup and I use super glue to put it back together, and it's together again, but sometimes you'll still see those little cracks where that cup broke, you know? So I'm going to always have those scars to remind me of where I came from. But that's the beauty of it. The beauty is the wisdom that come behind those challenges, the bad times, the adversities in life. And I've gotten to this point to where I understand that now, where I'm not ashamed of the scars that I carry. But at the same time, I'm not going to keep on putting myself in a situation where I'm breaking that cup over and over again, because there's going to be a time where that cup is so broken and it's in so many pieces that the glue cannot put it back together. And that's what I understand now. So, with that being said, I have to forgive myself for that. I have to forgive myself for not accepting myself for who I am as a person. I have to forgive myself for trying to be something that I wasn't. And many times, I have to forgive myself for trying to conform to societal standards, even though I know that that's not for me. To conform to societal standards is not. And I'm very confident that I know that it's not, because if it was, I would be doing it right now. I would allow myself to be in a miserable relationship just to prove that I do care. But I've learned, and I'm at this point to where I'm at now, to where I'm comfortable with being a bad guy in some people's eyes, even though there are some people that actually see the type of person that I am, and that they know that a lot of the stuff that was said about me was not as bad as what was put out there. And I'm not going to say that I'm innocent, because I'm not. We all got things that we've done. I've got things that I've done that I'm not proud of, but it is what it is. I've learned from it, and I'm doing my best to move on. So I'm forgiving myself, and I'm continuing to forgive myself. And that's a part of my healing process. And I'm going to keep on doing this. I'm going to be unapologetically me. I'm going to keep going on these trips. I'm going to keep on working the best that I can at my job. I'm going to continue to travel. I'm going to continue to make videos whenever I feel like it. I'm going to continue expressing myself in the way that I can, because what it is that I'm giving you at this point is truly me. It's nobody else. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm not trying to impress people. I'm just doing what it is that I have a passion for. And I forgive myself. And I know that I'm going to have to continue forgiving myself throughout the ups and downs in life. And I'm going to always have to ask God, the Most High God, to forgive me as well. Hopefully, when I die, He'll say, "Well done, my faithful servant." But if I fall short, so be it. I just have to deal with it. And with that being said, this is just Bob Bowman. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm out.